everybody, welcome back to my channel. This video is just going to be sharing with you the books that we are currently reading in our daily life. First of all, let me just start with a book that is not here, and it is a book that I said that we will be reading and we had began to read, and that is Brinker or The Silver Skates by I don't remember. And it is a book that is recommended by Ambleside Online as a great, geography, culture type book. And I've been reading it at the dinner table every single night. So my husband's there, all the kids are there, and I just read it. And it got to the point where there was just so much information dump, or info dump as I call it, that I felt like we just weren't getting to the story. That was my opinion. My husband kept saying, I have no idea what's going on, and the four kids, there was just no interest in it at all. None. We did get to see the movie that Disney put out, and so they kind of have an idea of what the story is about, and I know it's not so much about the story, it's about the culture. But there is a lot of information in that book that at this point we're just not enjoying it. I think it's better as a read alone book, not a read aloud book. So we set that one aside, and now I'm just going to share with you the stack that we have here. The first book I have right now is The Good News Must Go Out. This is book 2 in the Hidden Heroes. We finished book 1 a couple months ago in our homeschool. This is kind of the Missionary Stories that I'm reading aloud every day. There's this one, and there's one other one that I actually forgot to bring. And it's one that I think Sunlight uses. And I'll leave the title right here and it linked down below so you can check that out. And we kind of just flip back and forth, but we are really liking the other one. Liking this one. This one is more centered in a certain part of Africa. We finished up the one that starts in Ethiopia, and this one is in Central Africa, and this one kind of goes back a ways. But the other one that I can't remember the title on, guys, I haven't even had a cup of coffee yet. The other one basically goes through the centuries of different missionaries throughout the ages. It kind of shares a short message of how they spread the gospel. Alright, this one we are so close to being done. This is Black Powder by Ali Sherrick. This is basically Guy Fawkes Night. It's through the story of a young boy named Tom who basically is trying to save his father and gets put with this man called the Falcon, I believe. Yes. And he's trying to figure out if the Falcon is friend or foe. And basically, he uncovers the Guy Fawkes Night plot. Personally, this is over the course, I think, of a week-ish. Maybe 2 weeks, tops. Actually, the beginning, because he gets trapped in school. So maybe a little bit more, but once it starts really getting into it, it's over the course of about a week. Basically, whatever could happen to this kid keeps happening, and to the point where I was just like, man, this kid just can't get a break. He escapes one thing, literally can turn around and be stuck with another problem. And I kept trying to figure out if I didn't like that or not, because honestly, when you get a book that's there's just one problem after another happening to somebody, I kind of start shutting down. But, interestingly enough, I was mentioning this out loud to my kids, and I'm like, yeah, but it's all believable. And so I thought that was really interesting that they said that. Anyway, we are almost done, and nobody wants me to stop reading when it's time to stop reading. That is a good book in my book. On Sundays, I read Missionary Stories. It's just kind of, we have a late church, and so in the morning we have more of a brunch. So during that time it's just kind of calm, peace, and I will read our Missionary Stories. We are doing Eric Liddell. We haven't gotten very far in it. I will say we are enjoying this one a lot more than we did Hudson Taylor. Maybe it's just kind of more our genre. Not genre. maybe more our style of living. I really don't know or can compare, but he's also going into the heart of China. And so we will see how his compares with Hudson Taylor. Alright, well, after we set aside Hans Brinker and the Silver Skates, I picked up something that was a childhood favorite of mine, and it is Gone Away Lake by Elizabeth Enright. If you have not heard of Elizabeth Enright, she wrote my beloved series, The Melendi Children. You have The Saturdays, Four Story Mistake, then there were 5, and finally Spiderweb for 2. If you have not heard of those series, I highly encourage you to check them out. They are a precious family just before World War II and during the Great Depression, and it's a beautiful, beautiful set of books. But she also did Gone Away Lake that was set after World War II, and it's about these two cousins that basically find this lost like resort, summer houses, and they get to meet some eccentric characters, and it's just a fun summer that, of course, I always wanted to have as a kid. And so now I'm getting to share this with the children, and I've already had my 6-year-old, Mr. Ben, who's very picky about his books, let me just say. He has already been asking me to pick this up and read it more often during our school days, so that's really encouraging. I have 2 books here that I've been reading during our school time. The first one is, after this, we went into this one, and this is The World of William Penn by Genevieve Foster. I wasn't really sure how engaging I was going to be able to make this book. Sometimes Genevieve Foster is an upper level type of book. Honestly, I have not had a single problem. I even had my 10-year-old Stephen, my boy, decide that he wanted to take a moving box and kind of create this whole setup about William Penn, including pictures and places and just how some of our country came to be with the Quakers. My son Stephen also read a book earlier this year about Benjamin West, so I think he's a little interested in Quakers right now. So that's what we're reading for our history, along with Story of the World, because I don't think Story of the World works as a complete history book. It really needs some living books put in with it to kind of bring home some of the ideas. Another one that works with our Ambleside is Parables from Nature by Margaret Getty, and this is put out by Living Book Press. Guys, I am so impressed with their books, and so I really encourage you to check it out. It is a Ambleside dad in Australia who is finding these old books and reprinting them for Ambleside, and he is doing a phenomenal job. He's the one that put the 2 books, I don't remember if I've done a video review on them or not, but they are the Richard Halliburton's Wonders of the World type of books. I can't remember the titles. I'm really bad with titles right now. I'm sorry. It's that lack of coffee. I'm sure of it. But I will leave it linked down below. I know I've shared it on Instagram, and if you're not following me on Instagram, I share a lot of stuff kind of going on in our day-to-day life over there, so you can check that out. It's linked down below. But this one, I've been taking it really slowly. I use it as a read aloud, and it is fantastic. We are really just getting some fun parable type thing within our school, and I really, really appreciate what he's done, and he laid it out the same way that Ambleside has it laid out, but honestly, I am just picking it up and reading 1 or 2 a week, and it kind of goes along a little bit with our Beautiful Feet curriculum that we've been using. I talked a little bit about it. I'll try to leave those videos linked down below, but in our character study with Beautiful Feet, I have to make sure that I'm ordering the books ahead. And how that's laid out is very simple, so I don't have to do them all in 1 week, or even 1 a week. So I kind of balance it out with this one. And so far, there's not a love for it, but there's not a hate for it. Okay, the last two books I have here, they're just bedtime read-alouds, and so they go through pretty slowly. The first one I have is John D. Fitzgerald, The Great Brain. I think this is kind of like an autobiography of John's childhood. There is some things in here that I'm really glad I'm reading it, because they play some things that I really have to kind of cut out with this, kind of change it a little bit. They're fun, the antics are great. I'm trying to figure out what I say. What I really like about this is the whole boys will be boys concept, which I kind of hate that line, but in a sense, boys will be boys in this book, but they learn how to be gentlemen as well. And so some of their antics that you're just like, oh, please don't copy that as I'm reading this out loud, gets taken care of, and I really appreciate that. I will say, yesterday's reading, there was a game that I had to change the name of, because, I mean, I could call it Donkey, but I just called it Jack something. Jack Leapfrog. I just called it Jack Leapfrog instead of Donkey Leapfrog, which Donkey is, of course, the cleaned up version of what it really was. So, the boys are really enjoying this. I think it's just appealing to their heart. It is a classic for sure. I know that some of my viewers out here, you're going to want to filter it first or read it first before you give it to your kid. Okay, and then for my daughter, she is doing The Little Princess. This is a beautiful copy, isn't it? It is a Barnes & Noble's just edition, and we are about halfway through, give or take, and she's loving it, and I'm falling in love with Sarah Crew all over again. It is definitely a classic worth reading aloud, I would have to say. Sarah Crew is very mature for her age. I think she's 7 or 8 in this story, maybe even a little bit younger. I honestly do not remember. But because she's so mature for her age, it really works for my older daughter to sit in and listen, and of course I want her to. But the main reason I started reading this was for my 5-year-old who loves everything princess, and I wanted to give her a good princess because I am not a Disney fan at all. So this is kind of our little mommy-daughter time in the evenings. We love Sarah. We love her heart. Definitely a character that is flawed, but still something to aim towards. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Just kind of getting a look at what we're reading right now. It's not what we have read. It is what we are currently reading and our thoughts on that. I don't know when I will get another book, or I don't know when I would get another video out for this type of thing, like what we have read. So I'm just filming this for right now and sharing with you these books. These I do not necessarily post on Goodreads. But if there's some really good ones, then I try to, that not many people have heard of, I try to do a review on those on Goodreads, but no promises there. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you will stick around if you're new and click the subscribe button. But if not, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. And until next time, have another cup of coffee, or in my case, a first cup of coffee, and read another chapter. Bye.